Hey everyone, this is Dave. Meckie's trying to get in. It's not working for him at the moment, but certainly he might have to do a restart or something very similar. I've requested that he join this group, but I'm not sure what's going on. So I've taken the station. That's what I've done. This is Platos Cave, by the way. And I'm Dave. Meckie should be with us soon. Let me see the show notes. I wasn't expecting to do the read, but it's alright. We're broadcasting from Australia for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. That is home for fresh ideas. Buy some merchandise or donate if you like anything we say. Join us in the chat room while we're on air. And that reminds me to go into the chat room so people can join us while we're on air. Crazy times, huh? That's right. And if Meckie is listening, he should restart his teams. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm just letting Sam I have the call. So, and there is Meckie. Hey.
I tell you. I hate Teams. I hate it.
Tell us what you
really
think.
Okay, I hate Teams.
Oh.
There must be an update. Okay, so I force quit the thing. On Apple, you have to do that. So I force quit it twice, and then it won't initialize. I remove it from the dock. I start it up again, and then it sits there for a little bit, and then it changes the icon a little bit. Okay, something is happening. All the while, Dave is obviously opening the show, and then it goes, just wait a moment while we set up things for you. What things? Well, what things? There's nothing to set up. I didn't ask for a setup.
The things it wanted to set up.
I've already installed it. Here's my mic, everybody. Yeah. See, all the professionals, Dave, they've got mic in shot.
Yeah,
mic in shot.
That's nice. So what I can't.
No, you got. Get your mic in shot, is what I'm saying to you.
I hear what you're saying. All right. So
there's a million more listeners if you get your mic in shot.
That's good. That is good. Great. So the issue that I have is that your audio is so loud that it's square waves.
Sweet.
It's if we could put the microphone
it's
out of shot.
Be square. It's hip to be square.
If we could put the microphone out of shot, maybe that would be lower in volume.
No, I'll go out of shot if you want. Mike stays in shot.
Off. It's so loud.
That's me. That's not the mic. It's all me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, hang on. Look. Okay. Now, seriously, how's this? Is this better?
Well, you'll have to say something.
I'm saying many things. How is this? Much better or the same?
No, it's the same. It's square waving.
Oh, that's weird because I've changed both the hardware and the software settings. The output, I've got it right in front of me here.
This volume, it's perfect.
Oh, I can't shout is what you're saying to me.
Oh, yeah, probably. But
man!
On your platform, there should be something to do with settings and.
No, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Nothing.
Crickets.
Nothing.
I get crickets all the time these days.
The thing is this: I'm going to buy myself a Windows machine just for the show.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because it's easier. I mean, I've been working. I mean, ever since we started, I've been on Apple, right?
Yeah.
And initially, there was a massive issue with Office and Skype, but I mean, over the years, it got better. But I think there's more control that you have. Because I know Microsoft a lot better than Apple. Probably similar to yourself.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Apple. I'm actually still learning stuff on Apple, and it's not as powerful a control interface as Windows.
I'm
learning. There's no real command prompt per se.
No,
they've locked that down.
That's right.
So that doesn't help me.
Who needs that?
We are delete root. Delete root. What? Okay, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you manage the intro?
Somewhat. I managed to get you in the call, and tune into us
Yeah.
online and on your smart device directly via an Apple. Listen at home on a graystable.tip digital radio. The archives are free. Donate to the station. You know the story.
You know the story. And Flanny, yes, we are going through the teams two-step. The Chicago teams two-step. it's the teams shuffle.
And
I
Mace has actually
professional dancer.
Mace has pasted the live stream. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mace.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. Love it. But yeah, the Teams Shuffle is look. I am buying a Windows machine at some point. But I tell you what.
If only Mickey could see my video right now, where he's talking.
See it.
I've got to take. I have to reef my headphones off because it's so loud.
I didn't do anything. No, okay, I'll talk normally. But yeah, look, it's interesting what's happening right now. That I want to talk about one thing which bothers me really a lot.
Great.
In that I was right completely from the start that Israel is looking to annex Gaza, which is now something they have officially made policy.
That's right.
And they have, I think they are mobilizing a few more tens of thousands. I think 30,000 extra.
Is basically what they're doing.
Now, the thing is this, we've been at this for a year, almost year and a half, right? Year and a half, I think. And I watch all newscasts. I've told you guys before, and the Germans do a really good job of showing all the drone footage, right? So it looks like Dresden after the firebombing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not rubble to the ground. It's aerial rubble. It is just abandoned. Say maybe 5 to 8 story buildings. Yeah. Just concrete, no windows, no furniture, nothing.
100%. And the funny thing is this. I mean, it's not funny.
Rebar bent up.
Oh, it's all there. Oh, completely. 100% correct. It's a war zone. No, but the odd thing, and not funny, the odd thing is this. So they've been at it for a year and a half, and the destruction is incredible. And still, the goal here is to destroy Hamas. That's the goal, right? So I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, how much more can you destroy? The only thing that is left to do, really, right, is to come in with bulldozers and shove all of the rubble into the sea. That's the only thing left to do. Like the entire Gaza plateau then becomes, just a plain, just a parking lot, because there's nothing else that could be destroyed. I mean, I'm astounded that Hamas is still able to muster any kind of resistance. Not only that, though, because Israel is taking over Gaza, the 2 million, or as many as are left, the 2 million Palestinians are now without land. And which is interesting, because for 2,000 years, thereabouts, the Jewish people, right, were without a land. They're running around Europe and such, and then they got a land, and now they're putting another people out to pasture. No land for you.
Is this a story of the abused becomes the abuser?
100%, absolutely.
I'm
in every sense.
It's a question, man. I'll put the warning screen up again.
But no, it is. I mean, look, if this gets deleted because of that comment, all right, because it's not just us saying it. The ICC said it. Okay, the UN is saying it. Most political commentators, unless they're neck deep in Israel's pocket, I should say, they all say the same thing. This is ethnic cleansing. So let's understand what ethnic cleansing is. It's not genocide, right? Ethnic cleansing is the removal of a population from a certain geography. That's ethnic cleansing. What we're seeing in Palestine is moving or removing the Palestinians from Gaza. Right? That's the textbook definition of ethnic cleansing. And you can stand on your head if you don't like it. And people make the mistake of confusing Israel with Jewishness. The Israelis, yes, a lot of them are Jews, but the Jews of the world are not behind Israeli policy. Okay, in fact, a lot of Jewish people around the world have protested what's going on at the moment. So let's not take it out on the Jewish people living elsewhere. This is the Israeli state, and more specifically, the Likud government under Netanyahu that's doing this, not the Jewish people, right? This is the Israeli state. And I mean, with Trump in power, he became emboldened, right? He's got all the support he needs. Trump doesn't really care what he does in Gaza. Biden was a bit different. And he sends a real estate person, what's his name? Witkoff, that's his name. He sends him to Russia to negotiate, and he sends him to Gaza to negotiate. Witkoff, he's he's a real estate mogul. What does he know about international politics? That's hilarious. I love the right now, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I just love I love watching what's going on. It's so funny. I have these newscasts open in the morning. Actually, you should watch it as well if you have time. On SBS, I think it's Vice. So channel 30 SBS, right? And then there's also 31, which is Vice. Sorry. They show news for half an hour or so from all around the world. They've got, for example, Indian news in English. They've got French news in English. They've got German news in English. So you don't have to speak the language, but you get the news from that newscaster in English. Not English, not the same as you would get with CNN or whatever. But this is from Deutsche Welle or Radio France or whatever it is. So that's usually in the afternoon or the morning on Vice or SBS. And then you can get the original broadcast on channel, I think it's 35 or 36, where they have that language channel. I like to watch the Gujarati news. I have no idea what they're saying, but I like the sound of it. I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds so melodical. It's very nice. But yeah, dude, there's an
Indian lady from Weon that has now moved to her own channel, I think. I'm sure she's like a world famous person. She was really nice, and she attacked the angle of the news very well, and tried to cut the bread straight up and down. You know what I mean? But since she's left, now that's just crazy. It just isn't what it used to be, and I can't watch it anymore.
Fair enough.
The Indian native Indian news from India is very against certain people, and it's difficult to watch that amount of hatred. It's beyond me in this day and age, with all of our life lessons, everything that we've gone through to get to here, and yet it doesn't seem to affect some people. There is just as much now as there ever has been, ever in the history of humanity, and that is hatred for people who are different than you. I have a lot of time, as Meki knows, to watch news like Meki does from all around the world, and I'm completely over all of the US and Australian news. I barely get to watch any of that because I'm so consumed with the others. No, because I just keep watching the same story. In fact, it's kind of like when I used to do shift work, and Bold and the Beautiful and Days of Our Lives would be on when I'd be getting up and having some cereal on shift work to go into work. Bold and the Beautiful aired in the afternoon. I was on night shift. I'd wake up, have some cereal, and watch the show. And it didn't really matter what season, what episode number. It didn't matter. it was the same stories, just maybe different characters playing it, and it's or that person died years ago. How are they back? Well, they didn't die. See, they ran away, and now they're the mother of your daughter's, children. Who knows? I don't even know anymore, right? But you watched it just for watching it and not to try and keep up with the story because none of it made sense for the last 30 years. So I think that's really funny. And I'm seeing the same thing now on our news. I'm just seeing the same. It's like there's a roulette wheel, or we call it a chocolate wheel, which is like a large raffle wheel, and someone spins it, and the little flapper goes past the nails, and then it stops on something, and someone gets a prize. That's kind of like the news stories. They'll spin this big wheel, and what story are you going to run today? Oh, it's going to be this. It does my head in. I'm not looking for a good news story because I don't think we could find any. And it's not the amount of bad news because I'm okay with that. It's just the same news.
I'll tell you what, Dave. I shall make it my mission for every show.
Yes.
Like starting today, and obviously the next one will be on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I shall bring you a piece of good news, and I share it with our listeners. That's my mission. How about them apples?
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Oh, Fletty has appreciated what I've said. Look, it resonates with people, I'm sure. The only story that I could find that meant anything about anything that was different today, apart from the truck that was spilling metal fragments, and there's still hundreds more people now claiming, nothing to do with that. There has been a side story to that saying we were hopelessly underprepared for such an event. Imagine if that was intentional. Imagine if there was a truck full of those, those the tridents with the spikes. Doesn't matter which way it stands. It's got 4 spikes, and there's always one pointed directly up. If you had a vehicle in order to do that over any Sydney roadway, any Sydney thoroughfare, you could shut this place down. Right? So that's one of those news stories that came up. But this one is pretty bad. Now, I remember bringing a story, and I won't put too much time into this. There's a story about the Chinese warships came around and did a circumnavigation of Australia. And then there was some rhetoric that Australian government didn't know or did know. They did know. Then it was hoo-ha about who knew what when and who cared. I don't even care. Who cares? Well, you can see the ship. Maybe some protocols could be addressed, but that's pretty much it. Then we saw a correlative event down in the Southern Ocean where there was sea life with some kind of mysterious yellow algae bloom or something that they tried to pass off in the news, or abandon that, have no connection, or it's a freak thing. Now we've had 4 great white sharks wash up and died in the hands of the helpers trying to put them back. And one of the persons, they're going to be taken away to be tested, but one of them said they had this froth coming from their gills, which was extremely unusual. But they'll do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really bad, right? That they were dead and or dying, and
wow,
it was clogging up their gills, this froth, and it was like mucousy. It was terrible. So if you look at a food chain, what are sharks? They're the vacuum cleaners of the sea. They eat up everything that's dead or dying. Usually their environment is pretty clean. The stuff that they end up eating is the little thing gets eaten by the bigger thing, and so on until it's a good meal for the shark. And this could be a knock-on effect. We're going to see something hopefully in the next couple of weeks, if it even makes it to air, or a news story, or a little, remember in the newspaper, make a little tiny column 8 little thing that was, it wasn't even it was just barely more than a paragraph. It might even only turn into something like that. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled to see if anyone draws any conclusions to it or what the findings were from it. It's concerning that there should be something that's causing, like I suppose, like a flu-like symptom on sea life. So anyway, apart from
It's
that,
but it's extremely uncommon event. People keep commenting on it, right? And it's affecting these great whites
yeah.
exclusively, it seems. And you're right. I mean, I didn't know about the mucus, but
Well,
could
the
this look a
seahorses and mollusks and everything, and small fish and then larger fish, they were all getting washed up. People inhaling the air around where that chemical soup was also found irritation in the eyes and the lungs and coughing and mucus. So I don't know. I don't think the story's finished. I think that we're maybe
no.
We're maybe.
But do you think? Yeah, do you think this might be related to all the stuff that washed up on the Australian beaches recently?
Yes.
You know, all the things that we found.
You mean those little nugget things?
Yeah, nuggets. There was also some kind of slimy stuff, some foamy stuff. It's a whole bunch of stuff that just washed up.
Stuff, and yes, I believe that to be the case. But the little ball things, smaller than, like, maybe ping pong ball to tennis ball sized objects. Apparently, that has been determined to have. They tested it and they found that it was from our effluent output. So we have deep sea outlets now of almost untreated sewage going into the ocean. And on the movie Nemo, they highlight the crabs walking along those pipes. Mine, says the seagulls. And that was Rove, by the way, was one of those crabs, the voice. He did the voice for him. So scuttering over these pipes where the ocean outfall is, and there was something that changed that caused them then to become balls that had never happened before. So what we're doing, what we're flushing down the toilet, what is going into the sewer system has changed somewhat for them to coagulate into these balls. They're no longer human poop at this point, but you know how it resembles the dung beetle in how that it amasses a ball and then puts it into a hole, walks it backwards, continually rolling it. It kind of resembles that, but on a just slightly larger scale.
Okay.
So that's what had been washing up on Sydney beaches. On the southern coastline, we had this yellow, chemical, soupy kind of thing, which was initially called in the media simply to be an algal bloom of some kind, but that didn't seem to have any scientific basis for calling it out. That was way before testing. So, and there's been media silence on it, so we don't know anymore. And I can't claim to know. Well,
it's just, look, one thing is, I think it's clear, we're hearing more and more, for the first time ever, or this has never happened before,
right.
or
unprecedented.
This unprecedented, all these things are. And I've always been interested in the news. I watched, Auslands Journal when I was a wee little fella in Germany, which is the foreign correspondent kind of program, right? And history as well. And I like to keep my ears to the ground. And I of course, things happen. Oh, this is a 1 in 100-year storm, or this event never happened. And I was always interested in things like the Fortean kind of phenomena, like when it rains cats and dogs, or they find a frog in a stone, or things like that, right?
Dogs and cats, but living together.
Dogs and cats in sin. What I think of the children. But it is now certainly at a point where we are hearing this almost continuously this unprecedented, stuff that keeps happening, and the things that we have never seen before, and oh, this is a new thing, and we've just discovered that, and oh wow, this never used to happen. It's just, I think it's a sign of the times. I think it's to some extent, obviously, it's what we do to the planet, and I think it's what the planet does to us in retaliation. But I think in
Take
many
that,
ways,
humans, says the planet.
yeah, that's right. We're going through massive changes, and I think not just humans. I'm not just talking about humans. I'm talking about the planet, maybe the universe. I don't know. But the point is, I think there's massive change afoot, and it is in almost every sphere of our existence. You know, I can't remember back in the 90s or even the noughties when anybody would talk to Congress, or when you get a congressman or even a senator in America talking about the UFO or UAP phenomenon. It just wouldn't happen, right? And now there's more and more calls for a disclosure and let us know what's happening, and across, not just in America, but in Great Britain and Germany and Australia, everywhere. And it's just more and more of this stuff is happening. There's this shift almost of consciousness. And I think it's a frustrated outcry, because in 2020, I firmly believe that we were meant to shift. Maybe not all of us, but a lot of us, right? That was prevented, with the whole COVID thing. And again, erroneously, I thought a lot of people would have to die for the critical mass not to be reached. It was clear that the critical mass referred to, and this is going to sound loopy, I get it, but I think it's for want of a better word, the psychic energy or the psychic vibration, or whatever you're going to call it, the Gedankenfeld, the sympathetic frequencies, whatever it might be, whatever you call it, I don't care. But it was enough to reduce the vibrations or the frequency to such an extent that the ascension or awareness cascade or rapture or whatever your term is couldn't happen. And what we're seeing now is, I think there's a lot of frustration that has built up in people. When you're waiting for something, Dave, and like maybe even for weeks, like going to the carnival, I don't know, something, right, or Easter show, something, and you're really looking forward to it, and in your mind you're building it up to something great, and it's going to be great. It's not just a build up in your mind, but it's going to be a great day, right? And then something happens, the rain out, or your dad can't take you, or whatever the case may be, but you don't get to go. All that pent up energy, all that joy that you were looking to experience, all the energy that has now nowhere to go. You feel pretty bad, right? You feel betrayed. You feel low. So your joy has turned into its opposite, and you're now quite depressed. And I think that's, in my opinion, that's what we're experiencing right now, and have been for the last 4 or 5 years. We were building up to something,
because
right
around COVID was when it was meant to happen, and we didn't even.
Yeah, 100%.
That's right.
We didn't even know, but the Aboriginal elders here actually went to Uluru.
See, we didn't know that the ascension was also from the native peoples. Date lined up with what you had come up with, and what we tested together, and it was like, wow, I can't believe. Yeah, we must be hitting the number.
Yeah.
And we said
it was all based
5 years out, right?
Yeah, totally. And it was all based on easily 5 years.
Yeah.
And it was all based on the basis of the Fibonacci sequence and the concept of critical mass. But that's by the by. But what we have now experienced, Dave, is that this release didn't happen.
That's right.
Nothing happened. In fact, the opposite happened. We've been, ever since, we've been living in fear, and what is worse, uncertainty, as we discussed many times. And it's this uncertainty that cripples you. You see. Now, fear. I prefer fear over uncertainty, because with fear, you go into 3 distinct modes. One is less common than the other two, but there's fight. That's number one. There's flight, right? Which run away, or or you play dead. Those are the three responses that you have in a fear situation. Now your higher brain functions shut down. That's why fear is called a mind killer, and your limbic system takes over. Okay, but if you're not afraid but uncertain, then literally you're frozen into an action. You're not playing dead. You just don't know what to do, right? And that's a much worse position to be in. And we have been kept in uncertainty, and we are being kept in more and more uncertainty as time goes on. And I hate to say it, but what Donald Trump is doing right now is like the cherry on the proverbial sundae of uncertainty, right? Where the old world order, and this is a big thing after COVID. So COVID happened, but the UN was there, and the countries were there, and everybody understood their place in the world, and and we got through it. I mean, still, it didn't help. It depressed us massively. But now the old world order is finished. Now that happened in after World War I, and the thing that happened after World War I, or the several things, there was a global depression, right? A global depression. There were fights in the streets. There were new, newish ideologies that were being tried out, like communism, right? Like national socialism, and these competing ideas at the time, right? Because the old ideas are gone. The empires are gone, right? People are living in uncertain times, hyperinflation, massive depression globally, tens of millions out of work across all the industrialized nations, right? In America, the Great Dust Bowl, right? Grapes are rough. That's the time I'm talking about here, and people weren't afraid. They just didn't know what was going on. The uncertainty was phenomenal. I think very much where we are now. So if you look at that, this was about 100 years ago, Dave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at where we are today, and you're looking at almost our deliberate, I can't call it anything else, our deliberate march into recession and potentially depression on a global scale, via the tariffs.
Yeah,
I mean,
I once again, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say it. Managed decline.
Yeah, 100%. And see, Dave and I discussed this at length, and we wondered. I mean, okay, so the Great Reset is there, the Project 2025, and there's also, Agenda 21. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is floating in the conspiracy realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but let's look at it more seriously. Let's understand. Well, let's game this out. What needs to happen for things to fall into place? What needs to happen for these things actually to come to pass, right? And still, I think while you've got a goodly number of Gen Xers out there, and even baby boomers, I don't think it would work. I don't think the Great Reset is a thing. It can't work, right? There would be too much opposition. So you take your time a bit, but now we've created these massive bubbles of uncertainty, and any of them could burst at any moment, right? I mean, right now, okay, we got Ukraine, Russia, that's one thing. China, Taiwan, maybe. India, Pakistan, right? Certainly Gaza, Israel, this is all going to hell. Africa is in a mess anyway, right? So let's not even go there. Haiti, oh my God, it's just going into anarchy right now, right? So that's just the human factor. Then you've got these massive weather events. You've got firestorms, floods, right? Earthquakes. You've got a whole bunch of things, and they're all coinciding. Whole bunch of things. They're all coinciding. They're all overlapping, and they're exacerbating the situation. They're not helping each other. They're making each other worse from every quarter. And you add to that the fact that we are now at the precipice of a new world order, right? And I don't mean this in the conspiratorial sense, but we truly are at the precipice of a new world order, because something has to shake loose. All right, America's policies have effectively isolated it. Okay, that's the truth of it. America is not. See, Trump is a little misinformed. Yes, America is a big market. Yes, it's an important market, but it's not the only market. It's not the only economy. Yes, it's a big economy, and you do want it as a market. You do want to trade with them, but if you can't, then you know what? Then you don't. So what? All right, there'll be some pain, but the world will sort itself out. So there is this misperception, I think, on Donald Trump's side that seems to think nobody can do without America. The truth is, big chunks of the world can do quite well without America. So there's this new world order emerging. The BRICS nations are a bigger economic unit than America by far. Yeah. If you add to that the European Union, because they have to trade with someone, right, it leaves America in the dust. So if the BRICS nations and the European Union get together and maybe, get in I guess if China goes in and India, then the rest of Asia is going to follow. I mean, that makes sense, right? And then, Mexico and Canada are looking for new trading partners too, right? So this new world order that we're seeing it now, we're seeing it evolve. So I think Donald Trump will achieve the exact opposite to what he's intending to do. Now, the question here is it intentional? To Dave's point, manage decline, right? Is this the plan? Because don't forget, Klaus Schwab is his buddy. He was in the White House 3 or 4 weeks ago, showing off how much money he made when Trump flip-flopped the stock market. He was in Trump's office.
But he's now getting investigated for something, and he's still
good luck with that.
And he's been replaced.
Yeah. So and a lot of people, he's being replaced, but that doesn't mean the agenda is being replaced, right? So
I think he was doing it too slowly.
Oh, possibly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We need some more dynamic. Go on, get in there. What you doing?
Make it happen quick.
Yeah. And at the same time, a lot of roadblocks are being removed. Epstein was one. Ghislaine is gone. And the reason I'm focusing on those folks is because Epstein, and probably unbeknownst to him, because he was a nobody that came up and then was probably recruited by Mossad and the KGB and whatever. But unbeknownst to him, he stepped into a massive hornet's nest.
That's right.
Right? By doing the things he did and collecting the information that he collected on the people that he collected it on.
Who has the tapes, Mackie?
Right now I believe Putin. That's what I think. Right?
Yeah, really.
Or at least copies, 100%. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump would not act the way he does if Putin didn't have any leverage over him.
Yeah, that's true.
No chance. Not a chance. Look at everything that I said. I mean, the only country not tariffed, the only country in the world. He tariffed the Ukraine. Because people said, it's because of the war. It's because of the war. No, but he did tariff the Ukraine. He didn't tariff Russia.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, it's because they have sanctions. He tariffed North Korea and Iran and Syria. They're all tariffed
already. That's right.
Russia was not tariffed, even though whatever. Anyway, it's interesting though that this is all developing as it is. So MAGA might have a very rude awakening when they realize Donald Trump has every intention but to make America great again, right? Not that one. Everything else, yes, but we're not going to make America great again, because America is already one of the biggest manufacturing nations on the planet. It is. And trade deficits have nothing to do with tariffs. Trade deficits have to do with your people in your country wanting to buy a whole bunch of foreign stuff. That's what it is, right? And why do they want to do that? Because the corporations that make the stuff make it cheaply in foreign countries. That's it. It's a really simple equation, right? You can't bring it all back. You have to use trade in a much smarter way, and you can't replace income tax with tariffs. You can't. The reason you can't is because you're disproportionately punishing the middle class consumers. Okay, if you do away with income tax, okay, the super rich people, they will do whatever they do anyway, but they don't pay income tax anymore, and right. So neither does the middle class, but the middle class will be hit hard with everyday items, right? That used to cost very little, but now are very, very expensive because the tariffs are so high. So this is not smart economic policy. And it doesn't help the American people. People talk about investment, this and that. I mean, I don't know if you heard recently. I think it was was it Ford? They decided to manufacture in Mexico. John Deere as well. John Deere, the tractor company, they're moving to Mexico, which is like an iconic. We all know John Deere, right? The farm equipment brand, etc. They decided they want to go and produce in Mexico because they can't afford to produce in America. And this is really the fundamental issue. And I want everybody to listen very carefully. The reason that a lot of stuff is made in third world countries or emerging economies such as China or India is because it is cheap labor. The key reason, the number one reason why things aren't being made in America or Australia or even in Europe anymore, I'm talking like consumer goods, is because the labor is too expensive. The wages that workers expect in those countries are too high. The profit margins are too low. Now, I argue that we have completely lost sight of what civilization is for. Completely, right? We are all governed by the profit motive. Even China, even the remaining communist nations on the planet are governed by the profit motive, right? And you have to ask yourself, is that the meaning of life? To make as much, to get as much stuff, to have as much money in the bank as possible, to whoever has the most win when they die wins. Is that the game we're playing here? We've completely lost sight of what our human endeavor is for. The exploration of space.
I thought it was the advancement of our species.
Yes, Dave. Yes, that should be the purpose, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. It's the opposite, in fact.
And what happens to any species who doesn't continue to support itself? It dies.
Yeah, it withers and dies. If we stagnate in our development, and we are right now, then we will wither and die.
The human race itself has withered to as little as 10,000.
Yeah, we have
some great issues that we've experienced, catastrophes, and so we've come to hear from there. And certainly, if Meki and I, if our theories are correct, there has been many civilizations that we've had and failed in, and come back to this from that, but they've just been slightly different in some way. This is, I think, quite remarkable in the technology we have, that we're enabled to do this show with an internet. If it was 40 years ago, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So thinking about what we have, I love my flat screens, Becky.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's a sad state of affairs. Like I always like to think of ourselves as being able to get to a Star Trek like society. Clearly they're post scarcity. They have conquered matter energy exactly. Translations 100%, and and now they had to go through a world war to get there.
That's right.
Make no mistake. Eugenics, etc. So they went through that, and then they emerged more mature, let's say. Now, I believe that this emergence has happened probably 20 or 30 times in our past. If you're just looking at the span of human or Homo sapiens existence, that's about the number you come up with. But
it's said by experts, not me, I'm only echoing those words, that every 100,000 years or so, you could have a civilization reach a peak like ours today with no evidence that they ever existed.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about this for a second, right? So what I'm postulating here is that it wasn't a civilization like ours. We're not going to find an iPad or even a nuclear power plant. Right? I don't think we will. I think the way that these civilizations developed was completely different. I'll give you a simple example. You know about the piezoelectric effect?
Yes.
So essentially, yeah, okay. I know you do.
You crush quartz crystal and it creates electricity.
Just by the application of pressure, physical pressure, you get electricity, right? That's a fact. Now, if you build a culture, right, a civilization on that kind of electricity, right, and maybe some other things, maybe some other energies that we've forgotten about or whatever, then it would develop in very different ways, and things would be very, very different, and maybe those civilizations, via the piezoelectric effect or even the Casimir effect or whatever the case may be, might get quicker to the 0-point energy fields, right? And they might have used that. There's stories about ley lines and Vimanas and flying machines, etc., even going to the stars, right? Even going to other planets. I mean, the Indian Vedas are chock-a-block, action-packed with science fiction stories like that, except they're not science fiction. So civilizations would have developed very, very differently to what we have today, in my opinion. So we see, the thing is, we are looking for signs in the geology of civilizations before ours, and one of the telltale signs, they say, is a layer of carbon or high carbon. Now, if the civilization never really burned fossil fuels, then no, it wouldn't be that. It would be something else completely, right? Because and I find this astounding. We seem to be limited in our imagination. We can't think beyond what we have achieved.
That's
right. But think about all the coincidences that led us to where we are. Now, some clever people, they've worked with steam for a long time, and they saw it expanding, and then somebody built a steam engine. We have not moved away from the concept of the steam engine. Internal combustion engine works the same way a steam engine does. Okay, a nuclear power plant is just a really, really big and hot steam engine.
Okay? The fuel is the nuclear material, but the output is steam, and it still runs steam turbines.
Yeah, and that's why it's clean. It doesn't actually produce any carbon, right? What it produces, of course, is radioactive waste, which is a different story altogether. But the point here is, we're running big steam engines. Dave, you know what I think?
What's that?
We're selling nuclear all wrong. We're selling it all wrong. We should just call it, these big steam engines. That's what we should call it. And people, because it doesn't matter what you burn to make the water hot.
That's right.
We happen to use plutonium, and uranium, and etc., but it's a steam engine. That's all it is. Because people think, and I know they do, people think that we're using this plutonium and we're smashing the plutonium together, and there's this massive energy that comes out of the plutonium. It's all radioactive, and it powers all up.
Out of that.
If only fusion were a thing. But this is where we are. We're not. We're not. We're not there.
It's only a free source of heating up the water. That's right.
Yeah, that's it. So we should sell
far fewer trucks bringing it to the boiler than you do coal.
Yeah, correct. Instead of calling it a nuclear reactor, we should call it a James Watt steam engine, Mark V.
I like it.
That's what we should call it, right? And all of a sudden, it's a steam engine. Oh, that's steam is okay, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, sir. Steam is okay. Because the marketing is all wrong. But that's neither here nor there. But a civilization that would have come before ours, or several civilizations, they would have had very different sources of energy. I mean, these ancient stories, or the legends talk about crystal power.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting in the connection with Atlantis, because quartz is a
crystal.
That's right.
Pepsi.
It is, right? So Pepsi, no, but that's it, Dave. It's a crystal, right? And they're talking about our charcoal, which was used in conjunction with mercury to power the Vimanas. And different civilizations might have had different power sources. I mean, like we have today. I mean, some countries in the world, they're nuclear. Like Germany is massively nuclear, for example, right? Whereas China is all coal, right? Oh, well, pretty much.
It's extremely
but the output,
cheap. Coal is I think only 0.02 cents per megawatt to create power. It's pretty cheap.
It is. Rocket is right. The steam engine Rocket to Mars. That's the ultimate cyberpunk novel. But look,
steampunk.
But it's true though, and Flatty is also right. We have to teach our kids right, because the kids, they hopefully they can lead us into a different future. But see, this is really the crazy thing, Dave. We can't imagine other civilizations. So. Daniken, he did a lot of research into granite and quartz and such, and he said that there are people out there, researchers, that believe that ancestor civilization of ours, people that came before us, used a granite or quartz or other crystals or other rocks as information storage. as energy sources, right? And some of these rocks have very interesting tonal qualities. If you hit them with a rock or whatever, there's
like
one at the pyramids
that rings like a bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Exactly
right.
that. Now, clearly, the
MSGA,
people that built the
back at you, Fleddy.
Yeah. Clearly, the people that
great again.
I didn't think it was never. Are we saying steampunk is no longer? I love steampunk. It's my favorite thing. I can't show you my little steampunk
with a top hat, tails, and
that's the best.
A steam-driven watch.
Oh,
I love it.
I love it. Yeah, but see, so we're stuck thinking that every civilization has to be like ours, right? No, it doesn't. It could be very, very different. And in fact, we have evidence for that. What is the evidence, you ask me? Well, number one is the skill with which they build with these rocks and especially granite and other stones and just the massive constructions they undertook. But secondly, and more recently, the evidence is in the UFOs that we see, the Tic Tac UFO, which has been acknowledged now, and others as well have been acknowledged to be a thing. What's the propulsion? I don't know. I don't see any propulsion. Where are the wings? There's no. That thing has no aerodynamic capabilities at all. None.
It's just like
zero. It is exactly like that. So what exotic principle, to us exotic, is it using for propulsion? Don't know, right? Don't know, but it is doing something. It is using something.
It's doing something. What is it doing? I don't know. Whatever it does, it's doing it now.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. But that's the point, right?
Yeah.
But it's being dismissed because, again, we can't stretch our minds around the fact that our way of life is just one amongst gazillions of possible outcomes.
Well,
we could have gone.
Let's think about it like this. Mekki and I have postulated that around the 20s or 30s or something like that, there was an anti-gravity created. It almost went into human like civilization, but was snatched up and kept from us. If we had something like that, I can imagine that our lives would be entirely different. We know that the Industrial Revolution only supported ideas that made money. That was the whole premise of industrialization.
Yes,
there wasn't
exactly
money
right.
spent on things that couldn't be made money from, so there was no funding that went towards the development of it, and they just either disappeared. Stanley Meyer, I'm talking about you, buddy. I know you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So there are things we don't need. There are things that we should have, and this world is now a direct result of chasing the money to earn more money, not good inventions that should save, humanity or forward it. I like all this tech we have. I really like the tech. Born into the right era, right tech, love it. Thank you very much for all those concerned. But where's my hover car?
Good question, my friend. But that's a good point too, right? I mean, a lot of the tech, and talking about the turn of the century now, right? We're talking late 19th century going into the 20th century. There was a lot happening, right? Radio and TV and frequencies, electricity, massive. Yeah, Tesla, 100%. And I think electricity was probably a common thread across most civilizations that came before us and ours, of course. And once, because electricity is clearly a natural phenomenon. You can observe in lightning, for example. You can observe in static electricity. You can create it yourself. And there are many ways in which electricity you come across it and you go, oh, wow, this is interesting, right?
Two metals, two different metals, bimetals, and an acid is enough.
Yeah. And I mean, if people are curious and they will build laboratories and test materials, it will happen, right? It'll happen differently each time, but it will happen, and they will find electricity. I think electricity is one of the things that is sort of probably universal, but I do believe there are other energies, other forces,
rearranged monatomic elements.
That's definitely one of them, my friend, 100%. And we just have forgotten, or what they are, how to use them, and that knowledge was lost. And I believe that the Chinese, for one, and the Indians, for another, retain some of the knowledge. And I'm talking about acupuncture as well as feng shui, again, ley lines, the kundalini points, etc., right? And these energies that we in the West dismiss, what a lot of nonsense, except it isn't. Acupuncture works, right? You can stand on your head. It does actually work. And feng shui, I mean, you won't get a Chinese person to move into a house in which the front door and the back door are completely aligned.
That's right.
Right? Not going to happen. Never. You will never sell that house to a Chinese person. So there are a lot of things in that, and I think astrology, as well as the oracles of the I Ching and Tarot, are remnants of ancient sciences that are completely lost to us, but they work if you apply them correctly, if you do it correctly. Because my grandmother did it, and she was scarily accurate. My wife's grandfather did it, and he was scarily accurate. And don't tell me that's the music, Dave.
Well, okay, I won't tell you, but that is the music. This is the end of Plato's Cave for today. We'll see you on Thursday, 7 a.m. as usual for Plato's Cave again, and Shiny Side Out catches on the weekend. For that, do like, share, subscribe, and comment. We only had one person since I mentioned it last week. Can you do it, please? It helps us with the algorithm. What did we say, Mackie?
Be safe!
There we go.
Revolution Radio.
I don't know what happened to the call. Go on. Now I can't hang it up. Stupid Teams. Are you there? That's crazy. I don't know why I can't hang it up. Oh well.